Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. Tim, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Whoa, you asked me. No. Guys, I'm always giving Tim a hard time. Well, we're always each giving each other a hard time. I'm doing well, man. I feel a lot better for a guy that has been up since 2 a.m. because kids and sick because of kids. You know what it is, Tim? Is I did a live training. We had over 400 guys register for a live training about how to get the respect and admiration back in their wife's eyes. And that fills me up so much. I love working with those guys and helping them out. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why you're here. So we always say, does something light you up and fill you up, or does something drain you? And helping these guys and the men that are involved in the movement, that definitely fills me up.
That's why we do what we do.
All right, Tim. So today I want to throw out on the table, so to speak. Let me just say this. This is what I was talking to the guys about. Your marriage or your relationship is like a game of golf. And not only a game of golf, but it's like you're playing in the Masters, the best of the best, right? And every man listening to this wants their marriage to be the best of the best. It's the most important thing that most men will say that's in their lives. Their marriage, their kids, and sometimes the guys we work with, their business. So if that's the case, then we can make the argument or the analogy that if your marriage is like golf, you're playing one of the top golf courses in the world. I'm going to pick Augusta just for this analogy. I am not a great golfer, Tim, by the way. I am the guy that you take on the golf course if you want to laugh, have a beer with them. I have a great time
You're
golfing.
also a hustler.
I'm
You're also a
What's that?
hustler. You're also a hustler. So I am not
Uh,
sure I
uh,
believe that or not.
I'm not. I never say I'm bad at something when I'm not bad at it. Sometimes I ask people the rules of a game that I'm really good at, just to get clarity.
Yep. After you've put a little
Yeah.
wager on it.
A little friendly wager always helps.
Yeah.
Keeps people motivated. But anyway, we digress. So if your marriage is the game of golf and you're playing the championship level, right? Because everybody wants their marriage to be as good as possible. What I'm noticing is it's analogous, Tim, to you just expecting to know how to be a pro player. Pick any pro player you want, right?
Mhm.
Do you have a favorite PGA player, Tim?
I do.
Who?
McIlroy.
Okay. So imagine just expecting to be able to play golf at his level.
Mhm.
Not going to happen. But for some reason, as men, especially as businessmen, we expect to know how to play this game called marriage and relationships as if we were a pro. We say, hey, look, man, my marriage is super important to me. Being a great husband is super important to me. I love my wife. I love my kids. Yet, we don't take golf lessons in this game of golf, marriage lessons. And what most men do is they step up to the driving tee, right? The tee box. They grab the club and they swing as hard as they can, the best that they can, only to see the ball dribble down because they don't know how to play the game of marriage and they're driving with a putter. And it's not their fault because no one teaches us. There's this expectation that you should just know how marriage works. And it's not that way. It's like golf. It would be like me stepping up, right? Playing against Tiger Woods, going to the tee box, having no idea what I'm doing, and expecting to win. He's going to smoke me. And no matter how many weights I lift, how strong I get, I will never hit par, let alone a hole in one, if I'm only using a putter. I'm going to end up in the sand trap, right? Those are shit tests and everything else guys end up in. I'm going to end up in the water, right? This is when your wife and you are fighting or you become a good guy. I'm going to end up in the rough. And all because I don't have the proper tools or the proper training to do so. Have you ever experienced this with the guys that you work with, Tim?
Do you know what? um, Oftentimes by the time the guys come to us, they've recognized this, right? They realize, hey, do you know what? I have been using the wrong tool. I completely had the wrong club. Didn't even realize it. Using that club for years. And luckily for us, the guys that come to us are the ones that have realized this, and they are willing and committed to playing the game in the way it's meant to be played. And they're wise enough to be patient enough with themselves to play the long game and be open minded enough to improve over the long run. Now, it's a weird phenomenon because usually it's those guys that often get the fastest results. Um, but it's either way, it's just great that we get those guys that are willing to play the game in the way that it's meant to be played.
If you're playing in the PGA Championships, let's call it your marriage. Got Tiger Woods over there, which Tiger Woods could be the guy your wife is texting or IMing for all we know, right? But you're playing this game. Now imagine having a golf pro next to you going, no, no, no. You don't get the putter to drive. You use a driver. Oh, wait, just twist your wrist just a little bit more to hit it down the fairway so you don't end up in the trees like Doug does, right? And this is the key, guys. When you're using techniques like the hidden motives technique or any of the other things in the triad of connection that we teach, it's the little nuances that make all the difference. And yeah, you're still going to get stuck in a sand trap. Those shit tests are still going to come. But a pro, right? They grab the sand wedge and they can hit it onto the green, right into the pin, hit the pin, right into the hole when they have the right kind of training. I still fall into sand traps, Tim, when I'm on the course. And my marriage is amazing, and I'm very blessed to have it as such. And as my wife and I continue to raise the bar on what we want for our marriage and our relationship and our family, it's like the course is getting harder, but the game is getting more fun, right? When you go as a golfer, I have friends that are avid golfers and they travel all over the world golfing. I'm good going to a pitch and putt, having a couple beers and playing golf with my friends. They don't enjoy it. It's not fun for them because it's not a challenge, right? They'll make it challenging just trying to hit holes in ones, and they're great golfers, but it's not a challenge for them. It gets more fun the more challenging it gets for them. So they play harder courses and they play against better players and they put bigger wagers on the line and play all kinds of various games that I can't even describe. And that's the way the game of marriage gets to be played. But first, you need to learn the rules. Then you get to learn the clubs that get to be played on the course. What do you use on the fairway when you're 300 yards out versus 50 yards out? What happens when you get stuck in the sand trap? So when I get stuck in the sand trap now, and a lot of our guys that have been through the program get stuck, they know not only what club to use, but they know how to swing it properly, whether it needs force or it needs a little bit more finesse on the club to get it in the hole where they want to be. No pun intended, right? To get it where they want to go so they can get on par and so they can play the game to the level that they want to play. And the more and more you play each round of golf, the better you get.
And then it becomes time to upgrade your clubs.
You upgrade your clubs, yeah.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is the people you play with, your wife, she steps up her game and she plays a better game. And this is where passion comes in, okay, guys. This is where you guys are both now growing together. But it starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with you learning the rules of golf and learning what clubs to use. It starts with learning the triadic connection.
I think it's great. I think it's a great analogy to use. It's interesting because I'm thinking of this. And this just isn't how guys approach business. Typically, is it? Now, the guys that we have the pleasure of working with anyway, they follow the approach that you've just outlined in business. In health, they usually do the same, whether it's hiring a trainer or whatever it may be, right? But in marriage, so often they leave it and leave it and leave it and leave it until they realize, oh, maybe I should take the same approach that I took in business and really understand the game I'm playing and actually get some instruction. I don't know. Maybe it's the whole thing that complacency sets in when you say I do, or when kids come along and it's just a given that she won't leave me or whatever story goes with it. I know we've had a lot of guys that have thought that and come home to divorce papers on the table. A lot of guys that have thought things weren't that bad because the arguments had stopped, but not realizing that that's a bad sign because it can often be that she's checking out. The passion isn't there, the interest isn't there. Um, but I mean, what a gift to have this kind of insight and analogy, assuming the listeners choose to use it, right? Whether that's getting the instruction and the tools, the clubs from the powerful man or somewhere else, it doesn't really matter. My biggest desire for the listeners is that they actually do something with this because I think you've explained it in a very simple way. Definitely lands for me. I imagine it will land for some of the listeners at least. And the question becomes what you do with it.
Yeah, it really does. Not only what you do with it, but recognizing where you are and what level you're playing at. And I was talking to the guys today, Tim, during the training I was doing, and I was like, hey, look, imagine you figure out it's a driver. Okay. You go, cool, finally. Because I've been racking my head against the wall trying to swing this friggin' putter and get it on the green. And most of the guys agree. Like, look, we've tried everything. We're hitting this putter every which way. I'm swinging at it harder every day. My hands are getting blisters, yet it's not getting to the destination. And man, have I been there, Tim. Man, have I been there. So now
Mm.
they got the driver. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Now they know that they can drive the ball. Now, what direction is different? But someone like Tiger Woods, right? Or any other PGA person, what do they do before they get on to swing the clubs? They stretch. They warm up. They prepare mentally. This is the alpha rise and shine. This is the alpha decompression. All things we've talked about in previous podcasts. You have to have those fundamentals so you don't get hurt on the course. So you're attuned. So you're in flow as you're playing. They always say the game of golf is mostly mental, right? Techniques for sure, but very mental game when you play at a high level. And I know this from other sports, it's definitely that way. And so you need to get there. And the alpha rise and shine, which is your morning routine, the alpha decompression, which is your evening routine, those two things need to be in play. Then you step onto the course. Then you grab the correct club. Then you can swing and work on your technique and drive the ball down the fairway of life the way that you want it to go. Avoid the trees, avoid the sand traps and the water traps. And if you get in them, you'll know how to get out and you'll be warmed up and ready to go.
Well said.
There's so much more I want to talk about on this subject, Tim, and I'm doing another training for the guys next week into the Hopper group. We have a bunch of guys trying to get in. Gentlemen, if you're trying to get in, my apologies. We closed it. We do that just to keep the container clean. What I mean by that is these men are on a journey. They've already done 2 trainings with me. They're going to do 2 more before we're done for this. And we want to keep these guys moving forward. A lot of activity in that group. But maybe in another podcast when it's done, we can talk about the rest of the course and how to continue playing. So, Tim, any advice you'd give for guys who are saying, man, I feel like I have been that guy swinging and realizing I am just swinging with a putter and I just didn't know what club to choose?
Take action. I mean, it's really as simple as that. We've got over 600 episodes, 600 podcasts. We literally have given away all of the answers. Straight away, that's one path you can take. Go listen to all 600 and apply it. I mean, we have had men that have just done that, never invested in the program and gotten the result in marriage. Same is true with the trainings that Doug puts on in the Hopper group. And you've got so many resources just from us at the Powerful Man, never mind wherever else you may be listening and digesting content. But it all means nothing unless you take action. So if you're realizing that you want to be better at this game and you don't really want to sit through 600 podcasts and you want to get some instruction, then speak to one of our advisors or speak to somebody. Just do something. It's so incredibly frustrating when so many great men just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait some more. Especially if they have kids, it's like, what role model are you setting? And I know that isn't not what it's not what most people want to hear, because we've spoken to so many guys. When you ask them, hey, what toll is this taking on the kid? Oh no, the kids are fine. Really? Like, you're trying to tell me that they're not at least observing the arguments and the disconnect? Like, are you really modeling what a healthy relationship looks like? And if not, well, surely they're seeing that, right? So even though they might not be displaying it through certain behaviors, they're still watching things, right? So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for them. But if you're anything like most of the guys that we work with, then there comes a point where you just have to get off the fence and you do it for yourself and you do it for your kids and you do it because you refuse to settle any longer. So whether it's with us, whether it's with somebody else, whatever it may be, just take action. Take action.
There you go, from the words of Tim, the powerful man Matthews himself. Gentlemen, as we always say in the Moment of Insight, take massive action, and no different than today. Get on that course. Get your warm-up on. You can grab a beer from the beer cart we have here in the States. I understand the UK, you guys don't have those as often, but we do have those here. But enjoy the game. Part of enjoyment is learning how to play and having fun with those around you that are playing. And remember, if your marriage is a game of golf, you want to be playing at the championship level. Gentlemen, we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are two types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, wolf is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here, so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated, because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.